What's up guys, Lou here, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 missing features on the new iPhone 6. It's been getting a lot of hype, a lot of praise, but I'm going to talk about things that aren't in the iPhone 6 that I wish were. But before we get into it, I want to give a shout out to Sony for sponsoring this video, more specifically the Sony Action Cam. If you're unfamiliar with it, it's an absolute beast. Shoots up to 240 FPS, super wide angle lens, has image stabilization. You can really create some amazing stuff with this tiny little action camera. Head over to the link in the description to learn more, as well as check out some samples of things that people are shooting with the action cam, including one really cool clip that I just finished watching featuring Tony Hawk. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with the top 5 missing features on the iPhone 6. This also applies to the 6 Plus. I'm leaving no stone unturned here. To get it started, let's go with water resistance. At this point, there are an incredible number of phones that feature IP67 certification, and who can really argue with some extra durability and water resistance? No one. It's just a tougher, more rugged phone, and I know a lot of people that would love to see that certification in the new iPhone. Up next, we're going to talk about standards, or the lack thereof, in the new iPhone and the previous generation for that matter, and the one before that. That's proprietary connectors. This one, like all the rest of them, has its own connector specific to Apple, the Lightning port, which in my opinion is inferior to going along with the standard, even though you can insert your cable either way, and from that standpoint it's a little bit more sophisticated. Not fitting in with the guidelines of the rest of the phone marketplace, device marketplace, tablet marketplace, etc., means that you have to have these independent chargers, independent connection cables, independent docks, etc. And I'm just a big fan of having standards, especially for somebody who owns so many different devices. Big fan of micro USB right here. Now this one is a little bit surprising. Some of you may not know that the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus doesn't have a fantastic forward-facing camera, at least in terms of resolution. You're looking at a 1.3 megapixel cam, which is very low in the spec department when compared to some other devices on the market. For example, the upcoming Note 4 has a 3.7 megapixel front-facing camera, capable of 1080p video. The LG G3 has a 2.1 megapixel camera, and the HTC One M8 has a 5 megapixel shooter on the front. So kind of unusual here. You would expect that Apple would want to occupy a spot in the selfie universe with a high quality forward facing cam, but to my surprise, to your surprise, they're actually lagging behind in this department. Now granted, the megapixel count is not the only thing that matters when it comes to photography, forward-facing photography, selfie photography, but 1.2 megapixels, that sounds pretty old school. Next up, we have something that's been covered in detail, but it's impossible to leave it off of a list like this, and that is, of course, the resolution of the new screens that are being used in the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus. Now, they are fantastic screens, don't get me wrong. They're IPS displays, awesome to look at, great color representation, very bright indoors and outdoors, but they have low resolution compared to some of the Android competitors. The iPhone 6 standard model has a resolution close to 720p. The larger plus size iPhone is sitting at 1080p, but devices like the upcoming Note 4 are going to have QHD 2560 by 1440, and the LG G3 already has that resolution with an even smaller screen. So in 5.5 inches, the same 5.5 inches that the iPhone 6 Plus occupies, the LG G3 has significantly more pixels for a much higher PPI. So the last feature that I really wish existed in both of these new iPhones is wireless charging. Now this might not matter to you. You may have never experienced it before, but once you get used to charging something wirelessly, it is very difficult to go back. It's the main reason that the Nexus 5 is still one of my go-to devices, even though it's been on the market for so long. When you have a nice little charging pad set up beside your bed or desk or around your house, etc. It is just so easy to drop your phone on there and not even think about the fact that you're charging. I'm one of these people that really hates charging devices. I think that's where our devices let us down. Now, granted, there is no perfect device that doesn't need to be charged yet. Pretty much everything on the market needs to be charged every day or every other day. So making that process a little bit easier really does go a long way. It's something you end up doing all the time. So wireless charging is one of my favorite features on phones, and unfortunately, these two new iPhones do not feature it. Maybe next time. All right, guys, that wraps up this top 5 list of things that I wish were in the new iPhones but aren't. Let me know in the comments, which features do you wish were there? And of this list, which is the most important feature to you that the iPhone 6 is lacking? Thanks as always for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this content, please remember to leave a thumbs up down below, and I will catch you very shortly on the next episode. Later.